Thank you for joining us for another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I'm here at the News Forum where all voices matter. In our continuing dialogue with small business owners, I want to welcome Yvonne Robertson to Boom and Bust. She is the president and CEO of Matrix Power Services Limited in Toronto. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I guess the first question is, tell us a little bit about the business you're in.
So Matrix Power Services is a company I incorporated in 1997. So for 27 years now, I've been exporting very specialized electrical products throughout North and Central America, servicing military, aerospace, subsea industries. And it's been great because when I started, Tony, it was almost the introduction of the BlackBerry and the cell phone.
Right.
So as a mom and a small business owner, it just helped me kind of launch a career, and I've been doing it ever since.
Fantastic. Well, can you describe a little bit of the business climate that you're facing at the start of 2024 here?
Yes. So as a small business owner, and I should just give you a little bit of background. So in Canada, I'd say 45% of the Canadian workforce is employed in the small and medium enterprise sector through the private sector of the Canadian economy. And as a small business owner, which is 99 employees or less, the environment to thrive and to excel has dramatically changed, and it is the most headwind that we've ever seen. And I've seen cycles now for almost 3 decades.
Right.
And we're at a point, Tony, where people are just walking away from their small business. I learned this term recently called zombie businesses, where people aren't even declaring bankruptcy. They're not even trying to sell their companies. They're just so defeated, they're walking away. And this is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Over 10 million Canadians are employed in this sector. And there is a definitely, there's going to be a change coming rapidly. And it's concerning.
Yeah, so let's unpack this a little bit. Obviously, you talk to a lot of small business owners. You're not only concerned about your particular business, but you're concerned about other folks that are in the same kind of milieu that you are in. So what exactly is it? Cost factors? Is it factors relating to getting the right talent? What are the things that are really challenging right now?
So right now, what we're seeing, it's kind of multifaceted, because a small business owner is, their business is also almost like an extra sibling at the dinner table. So a small business owner not only operates a business, but runs their family as a community captain. So it's kind of you're a very special person if you can successfully run a small business within a community. And what we're finding is the stress on these owners. A survey was done by the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. And if you have an opportunity to follow them, Dan Kelly and this organization, it's a wonderful source of information. They did a survey that asked small business owners. 45% of the respondents replied that they are feeling overwhelmingly stressed, to the point where it's hard. I'm paraphrasing, but they felt that it was hard to kind of breathe through the day. Right. And if you look through the survey, they said that the demands to run the business far exceed their capacity to manage the business. So this is leading to a mental health crisis amongst small business owners that, we're not even addressing. And a lot of my friends who are medical doctors, I mean, they were considered small business owners. They were enticed with this new government came in 2015 to incorporate their healthcare practices. So doctors now became small business owners, and they realized that they can't run a small business and deliver excellent healthcare. And it got kind of away from them. And then we saw a rise in addiction, anxiety, suicide amongst doctors. And now this is translating through all the other sectors of small business owners. And, this is something that we really need to protect and address because, for the most part, there's over 1 million small businesses in our country
Right.
that employ over 10 million people. If we can't support these guys, we are letting down not only a huge portion of our
Right.
citizens,
We're gonna take a little bit of a break, Yvonne. I know you've got a lot more to say, and we've got a lot more to talk about. Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, having a dialogue with Yvonne Robertson. She is the CEO of Matrix Power Services Limited. Yvonne, we talked a little bit about some of the major challenges and the effects of those challenges on small businesses. Give us your assessment. How is government helping or indeed not helping small business given these challenges?
So, Tony, I could give you so many stories directly from these owners. I'm going to tell you, let's take, for example, the CEBA loan. The CEBA loan was a $40,000 emergency relief loan to small business owners that was issued during the pandemic. Right. 900,000 businesses accepted this loan. And the deal was that they had, if you agreed to repay it, up to a $60,000 loan, you would be forgiven $20,000. So this is almost, I've never heard of this before. But the caveat was you had 1 year to pay it back.
Right.
So then Minister Freeland, the Minister of Finance, realized it was a little tight to expect someone to pay back $40,000 in the worst economic climate that we've ever seen. So they extended it for a year, and it's allowed people to kind of breathe. And entrepreneurs by nature are very particular about their taxes, paying their taxes, covering payroll, doing everything right so that they can survive one more year. It's how we live. But it was too tight. The time frame to repay a $40,000 loan within 24 months was too tight. So the government said, cheekily enough, we will extend it another year. So everyone just kind of sat back and said, wow, we have until December 2024. But what was not qualified is that the minister meant, we'll give you 18 more days.
Oh.
You can pay it back January 18th, 2024. So, this is kind of disheartening where they're getting cute with words. So everyone now is applying to their banks. The bank loans are coming in at 9%, 9.99%, where the Canadian prime rate as of yesterday was 7.2. So, people are suffocating, and the Canadian government is just not there. There's almost a bit of a hostility towards small business that we have felt since this government took shape in the 2016, 2017.
Yeah, and I know that the you mentioned the Canadian Federation of Independent Business and other small business advocates have been trying to get the attention of Minister Freeland and the federal government, saying, look, this is going to be kind of catastrophic on the whole sector, but really not a lot of feedback from them as of yet, right?
Crickets. Like, we've heard nothing. And, it's convenient that it's the holidays and they're all within their ridings. But if these businesses start falling apart and closing, there is, catastrophic exports. 45% of our Canadian exports are derived from small businesses.
Right.
I've been a huge exporter. And the climate abroad is so much more welcoming. I could tell you stories, Tony. 16 businesses in my riding, when I started counting in about 2019, have sold their businesses and left with their kids, everything. And most of them have the same answer. I'm like, you're gone completely? They said, Yvonne, we don't even want a magazine subscription.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, I hear you. I just want to make sure that our audience has the full picture. So also on January 1st, there were new taxes, new CPP obligations. Is that another thing that has to be absorbed by small business?
Oh, apparently, there's 4 new taxes that that the Canadian government is introducing, not necessarily in this order of relevance, but there's a new alcohol excise tax.
Right.
There is increase in CPP and EI rates, and there's an additional tax coming. And in Ontario, minimum wage is going up 6.8% in October. You know, there's so much headwind. Throw in a little, the carbon tax is coming too. So
Right.
like there's so much headwind. It's sometimes you wonder if it's even worth, is it even worth just getting out of bed?
Yeah, exactly. Carrying on and trying to fight against the headwinds. That's basically what you're saying. We're gonna. What I want to do. We're coming up to the break again. But what I want to do after the break is talk about potential solutions and also, what I've heard from talking to other small business owners is that there's a shortage of good workers. So these are another couple of important topics. So we'll be back with our guest, Yvonne Robertson, after the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking to Yvonne Robertson. She is the CEO of Matrix Power Services Limited in Toronto. Yvonne, let's talk about the shortage of finding workers, because this is another complaint or observation that I do hear from small business owners as well as commentators as well. How hard is it to keep excellent workers in this post-COVID workplace?
So I am based in Toronto, Midtown. Like Yonge
Right.
and Eglinton is the main intersection. And the cost of living is increasing so rapidly, Tony, that the employees are finding it hard to afford the gas to get to work.
Right.
Now, because of the state of our economy and sales are softening, the economy is constricting, it's hard to provide additional incentives to employees and maintain a healthy business. But employees need to be able to cover their costs. Rent is I mean, this is all common knowledge. Rent is so expensive for a 2-bedroom. We're now hitting $2,800 as of last week. And let alone finding spaces in schools. And so employees are demanding pay increases. But couple that with they're becoming so disheartened that it's almost more advantageous for them to stay home and to accept subsidies and to just, kind of disengage. Which is very concerning. As a mother, I've got 3 kids in university, and
Right.
you tell them you go study business and be innovative, and you want them to have that spirit of entrepreneurship and to get excited about their lives, where it's kind of diluted now. And so in terms of employees, they're feeling it. And as an owner, often in a small business, you're more than just an employer. You're their friend and you're a mentor and you're trying to motivate and encourage. And,
Sure.
But I think it's almost getting away from us too much that, they've received so many subsidies. I mean, there were checks coming in at the door no one knew for what. And these were high school, university kids received, I think, $5,000 2 summers ago each. And I'm like, you're going to have to repay that. And they said, but we never even asked for it. So what do we do, Tony, about keeping employees motivated? Our youth is the secret to our future. They're kind of disengaged. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you, definitely. So again, we're kind of on this show. We always like to look at solutions as well as problems. So what really needs to be done to help the small business owner, Yvonne?
So I think the narrative, a small business is like a country, and the message comes from the top, and the message should be Canada is open for business. We support our small businesses because in actual fact, we need you to keep the economy going. So first and foremost, there should be a comprehensive tax structure that rewards those who are showing up, that are contributing. There has to be a certain amount of support. And we're not looking for handouts, but understanding that says, okay, maybe you need a small extension on CEBA, let's not penalize you with this $20,000 debt forgiveness, but let's see if there's a middle road. Most small business owners are the most innovative, hardworking, resourceful people we'll ever meet. And we need to keep as many people in the economy. So I think you almost have to kind of encourage people to dig in and hang on. Keep your businesses active. We have to remove this concept of zombie businesses, which are just shallowing out. And the message has to be sent that, we appreciate you guys and let us show you through the tax system. It's the best way.
Yeah, and really, part of what you're suggesting is the rhetoric has got to be matched by action, because the rhetoric is for decades has been small business is the engine of growth in our economy, and we love small business owners, but really the tax system and other government policies are not conducive to that.
No, and there's hundreds of thousands of civil servants who are at the disposal of our government who can also contribute, and maybe they should just ask. But I'll tell you, if they ask the small business owner, they would probably have the most clear and concise solutions. And organizations like the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses, they do a great job. Maybe they should listen a little bit more. And but either way, it's going to come to a head. So
that's where we're at. We're going to take another small break. We'll be back with our guest. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, having a conversation with Yvonne Robertson. She is the CEO of Matrix Power Services Limited. Yvonne, one of the things, this is more of a Toronto-centric question, but it might apply to other municipalities as well. But my intuition is telling me that the city of Toronto, it seems to be particularly tough an environment to do business these days. There's lots of overregulation, extra taxation. What's been your perspective from a city of Toronto point of view?
So in Toronto, the cost of doing business is simply prohibitive. And, even the taxes, everything from garbage collection to, crime, like these are real factors that affect our bottom line. And what soon will happen is that all these businesses will leave the city. The city will kind of become hollowed out. They're building these massive dwelling units that will house people, and there won't be many places to go. Along Yonge Street, we see it, Tony, along Eglinton, Mount Pleasant, Bayview, businesses are vacant, and there's a lot for lease now. And so you slowly see the vandalism creeping in, and, there's a property damage. This is, an urban reality where we can't keep up with the costs.
Yeah, are businesses looking for a degree of cooperation among municipal, provincial, and federal governments at this stage?
I know that, so we have a new mayor in the city, and it is definitely a mayor that has a bit of I would say, a socialist tinge. We've have popping up of, a lot of these areas where people are using a lot of drugs. There's a lot of homeless. There is, these shelters that do not allow the residents to remain within the shelter throughout the day. So they're just out and about.
Right.
My heart bleeds for people who have these struggle with addiction and who struggle with mental health issues. And maybe just instead of spending $300 million renaming an intersection at Yonge and Dundas, maybe we just put that directly into mental health services. Our police cannot keep up with the calls. We're clawing back on police budgets. And what our police are facing every day is even more aggressive calls. And, I think everyone is trying to do the best they can do, but it seems like we're not being able to keep up. And, I try and hire people who are able to walk to work. So
right.
At my business, I also own a cookie company, and I tell them, if you can walk to work, it is the best gift you'll give yourself, because this will never, ever really happen. Most people are driving an hour along the 401. And so I confess I rarely walk to work, but I don't live too far. And we're definitely a community business. And there's something magical that's worth hanging on to. And not to be doom and gloom, Tony, I want to
Right.
end on a positive, but we have to dig in and we have to keep pushing because it's worth it, because we want to maintain the health and the integrity of our communities so that our kids can walk to school, so that they can experience a little bit of that freedom. I mean, you learn so much being able just to walk along a sidewalk and, so Toronto is definitely facing some serious cost challenges. I think the province has stood with the City of Toronto. The province is trying to support business. The province is very clear that we are open for business, but we have to be competitive and we have to reach beyond our borders, south of our border now. I don't think we can rely on this federal government to do it for us. And for the most part, there's a lot of hustle that has to keep going for us to maintain viability.
We've got about 30 seconds left. Is that part of the potential solution, is finding new markets like south of the border?
Our secret to our economic health, whether it is a small business, a provincial health, or our national unity, we need strong economic numbers. And we have to now look beyond our borders because we cannot sustain the debt servicing that is occurring now. We have to look well beyond the Americas, and people love Canadian products and Canadian services. So let's just get out there. That's what has maintained my strength, is that I'm an exporter. There is business out there. We just have to remember to go look for it.
Yvonne, we're out of time. It's great having your perspective on boom and bust. Thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching today.